I just sent it to you now.
Okay, sir.
It should be on your way. All right.
Okay,
Please,
so
while
I
that
think
is still ongoing,
uh,
let's
please
try to
try
send a
it.
reminder.
Okay, now I think I have
All
the
right,
permission to share now.
go ahead, sir.
Okay. Okay. Can we all see my screen now, please?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Oh, all right. Thanks. Yeah, thank you everyone for coming to today's event. I hope and believe it's going to be very interactive. I do understand we've been here for a while, and I sincerely appreciate your patience. So without wasting much of our time, we'll just dive into the presentation proper. So today we'll be talking about the do's and don'ts of collaboration in research, with particular uh, reference to the context of OAAD, which is the Organization of African Academic Doctors, which I'm also a member of. So I would try as much as possible to skip this introduction because Dr. Victoria has kind of done justice to that. So as we all know, our topic or our discussion is all about what do we need to do, to collaborate effectively, and what are the things we should not try to do when we try to collaborate with people. So, but before we delve into the presentation proper, let's quickly take a look at some preambles. Co-creation of knowledge through collaboration promotes a dynamic exchange of ideas, enabling diverse perspectives to shape innovative solutions and drive impactful research. Yeah, in the world of today, collaboration, not competition, is what we actually need to advance science and make the world a better place. Collaboration amplifies our collective potential, enabling breakthroughs that competition could never achieve on its own. And the whole point of this preamble is to, prepare our mind that if we do want to make the world a better place, then collaboration and not competition is actually the way for us to go. And with that, we're going to be moving to the first module of our presentation this morning, which is collaboration and its benefits. So when we talk about collaboration, what do we actually imply? I believe we are all familiar with this, and there will be a whole lot of definition for collaboration. But to make it simple and straightforward, collaboration is working together with others to achieve a common goal or complete a task. For example, we want to try to conduct a research. We need different people from different expertise to come together to make it holistic, and this is something we have experienced a lot in OAD and outside OAD, at least for myself. Collaboration involves sharing ideas, resources, and efforts to solve problems or create new knowledge. So when we collaborate as researchers, it is either we are trying to solve a problem or we are trying to create new knowledge. And that is one of the reasons why when we, as researchers try to, prove our worth by saying, okay, we have contributed something new to knowledge, then we do need to justify what is it that we have actually contributed to, knowledge. Now, when we engage in collaboration, it transcends what individuals can achieve. You will agree with me that if you have an individual write a paper and have several people write a paper like the one that is displayed on the screen, no matter how, how competent that single author is, you cannot compare, his output or his write-up or the project is going to do with the one that is a product of collaboration among several authors, especially even if they are from different parts of the world. So collaboration is something that is interesting. Perhaps it's something we've been doing, and that is why we need to kind of make this as interactive as we can. So what do we stand to gain when we engage in collaboration? Number one is that we stand to benefit from the diverse expertise of the team. For example, I do remember that in OAD there was a time we published a study that has to do with an African-wide, study on COVID-19. And I do remember that on that team of authors, we have different people in One Health, people in agricultural economics, people in animal science, So bringing that, diversity of experts together is actually something, we stand to benefit because we would be able to learn from each other in the process. Accelerated discovery, when we collaborate, we tend to be able to bring forth, discovery in a more timely manner. And what do I mean by this? When different people divide tasks, among themselves in the area of, in terms of research, we are much more able to, come up with discovery that are very novel, you know, within, a kind of reduced time, let me put it that way, compared to if that kind of research is to be, conducted by just one person. And a very good example of this is writing a review article. If you want to write a review article as a single author, I'm very sure that it's going to take you a chunk of time, especially if you want to write a very good review article. But you can also do the same task by delineating some aspect of it to collaborators, and you find out that the amount of time you spend in completing that review is going to be reduced. Collaboration enhance our research quality, yes, because like the usual saying that two good heads are better than one. But here in collaboration, we are not even talking about two heads. We're talking about several good heads coming together, to do something that would be far more, qualitative than what a single author can achieve. Collaboration helps us to share resources. For example, I'm involved in a project that involves using high performance computing. And for you to use high performance computing, you definitely need access, to the platform for you to be able to, bring in your data and run all this analysis, for some of us that are familiar with this. So for example, these facilities are available in my university, but it's not available in other collaborators' university. So because we have this facility, we're able to share with the other researchers, and this is one of the benefits of, engaging in collaboration. Skill development. When you collaborate in a very good manner, you are bound to expand your skills because, for example, maybe we are a team of, 10 researchers trying to, solve a particular problem in a holistic way. And we are interested in doing certain analysis that, some of us are not aware of. So in the process of, the collaboration and trying to get the work done, it is possible for us to pick up this skill development. For example, I'm also interested in a particular project where I actually need to work on GIS related stuff. I'm not a GIS expert, but because of that, I also need to, expand my skill to be able to get some level of development in that area so that it can enable me to do my work. Ordinarily, if I'm not involved in that collaboration, I would not be motivated to learn how to use GIS as well. When we collaborate, we have the opportunity to make a broader impact in our field. For instance, if you conducted a study at a local scale, maybe within your site in your country, you will not compare it to pulling those that kind of data together at a global level, like replicating that kind of experiment at a global level, where all the resources, all the data sets are now put together on a global scale. You'll agree with me that that would bring out, a far more, impactful results. And the conclusion that is going to come out from that kind of collaboration will be more generalized than a study that is originating from a local experimental site. Collaboration is also an avenue for us to network. When you work with people and you do it the right way, then you have the opportunity of expanding your network. And by expanding your network, it simply implies that when other opportunities that relate to your expertise come up, people would be able to recommend you by saying, for example, I've worked with so and so, I've worked with Mr. A, and I recommend him for this kind of work. He would be able to deliver well. Collaboration helps us to solve problems in a far more different way than when we do our independent research. When we come together as a team to work on societal problems especially, we are able to come up with holistic solutions that will help us to be able to decentralize complex problems and find possible ways of providing solutions to those kind of problems. It's an avenue for us to continue learning and growing. For example, when you enter into collaboration, you find out that, oh, there's another way of doing a certain analysis that you have not even heard of, but maybe one of your collaborators know about this. Then you see that as an opportunity for you to also grow. So moving forward, you also want to try to add that skill to your bag so that you'll be able to take away something good, from that collaboration. That collaboration will have exposed you to the idea of knowing that there's still something you need to learn for you to keep improving yourself. More importantly, collaboration helps us to be accountable. Sometimes we find ourselves procrastinating a lot, especially as researchers, because we have many foods on our table, like I used to call it. The food here refers to the different tasks we have on our table to get done. But when we enter into collaboration, it increases our level of accountability. For instance, if I know I'm working with a team of global researchers on a particular project and I've promised to deliver the work on a certain date, even if I'm not able to make up with that date, I would want to notify my collaborators that for one reason or the other, I would have to shift the deadline for that to turn in my assignment, maybe by 1 week or by 2 weeks. That is accountability. Ordinarily, if I'm doing that kind of project on my own, I'll feel like I don't need to be accountable to anyone. And that can really drag me into procrastination. So I would like to quickly share my collaboration experience over the time. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I started doing research in 2014 or 2013 as an undergraduate. And ever since then, I've been fully immersed into research. And Organization of African Academic Doctors is one of the first organizations where I kickstarted my collaboration. As displayed on the screen, this is one of the papers produced from the OAAD Agricultural Research Group, and I'm very glad to be associated with this kind of contribution to scientific knowledge. However, OAD is a very big platform, and it has produced a lot of publications since then, which simply shows that there's a lot of collaboration ongoing within the OAD family. And some of them are what I display here, are some of the other papers that have emerged from OAD platform. So it's a very good platform that really encourage collaboration, especially among African PhD holders. And it's also provide a platform to engage in human capacity development for emerging scholars as well. But other than OAD, I've also been honored to collaborate with several international bodies that are involved in research. For example, I'm involved in disturbance and recovery across global grasslands network. This is an experimental setup where researchers from the University of Minnesota came up with a protocol to say, okay, let us do research to be able to come up with global conclusions with regard to our grassland management. So this is one of the collaborations that I've been involved in, and I'm still involved in it. About 2 or 3 weeks ago, we held our first in-person meeting on this project, and it was really nice, meeting people from different parts of the world doing the same type of experiment, all in the name of being able to pull data together on a global scale for us to answer relative and very important questions in grassland management and biodiversity studies. It has really been a very good experience. And it is also important for me to mention here that this collaboration, this Dragnet project was actually a product from an earlier version of the global collaboration that I'm not really too much involved in. But what I want to point out with that is that there's this global network called the Nutrient Network, and that network has been in existence for the past 10 years. I just recently joined that. But interestingly, that network has actually produced more than 150 papers in very good journals. So which implies that even when you are looking out for, making relevant policies when it comes to grassland management, some of the papers from that network, would actually be reckoned with, because these are publications published in high impact journals, Nature, Ecology, Letters, and any other, very good journal you can think of within the field of ecology and environmental science. In addition, I'm also involved in the Trade DivNet. This is also a global collaborative network where we are trying to study the above and below ground traits of plants found in grassland environments. This project is actually is domiciled in Estonia. The team that is leading this project is in Estonia. So we also collect similar or the same data from across the world, and we are trying to pull all those data together for us to answer interesting questions. And one of the good things here is that once you are able to contribute data, then you have access to the whole data set if you have any interesting question that you want to try to answer. And the picture on the right is actually showing this diversity of things we can we are involved in terms of the types of plants and their below ground structures that we are trying to study, as also depicted on the left hand side. Now, presently, I'm a member of the Modelscape Consortium, which is a kind of more of computational research team, and our team comprises of the University of Wyoming, the University of Nevada, and the University of Montana. And I want to quickly share my experience regarding this publication that I'm showing. The idea to come up with this project actually came when we had an in-person meeting in Montana in 2023. We came up with the idea of, we are a consortia. We have 8 PIs in our project, and we also have like 12 postdocs within the project. So you can imagine how robust that is. So it's a very big collaboration, and our members actually span from quantitative ecologists to aquatic ecologists, within the field of life sciences generally. So coming up with this kind of idea, like I mentioned, that when you collaborate with people, you are able to bring forth an accelerated, discovery. So this project was just, wrapped up within, like, let's say, maybe 12 months or 13 months, which is actually very fast for things like this, because for you to get a research output or a kind of paper like this out in very big outlet like this, it requires a lot of work. But because we are able to collaborate together, share ideas back and forth, and we also leverage the use of technology for us to be able to collaborate more effectively, which is something I'll still talk about in a bit. So what I'm trying to point out here is that indeed, when you collaborate with people, you are able to accelerate discovery, which is also very good for science and humanity. Because here we are actually advocating for funding bodies to provide more resources, to kind of fund a consortia-based postdoctoral training where people, a lot of people come together as postdoc, working together, and that gives people access to different types of resources across diverse areas of expertise. Now, as I mentioned earlier, that we're going to try to make this as interactive as possible. So our first activity for today, which I will really appreciate us to, drop our responses in the chat box, is that which of the following statements is or are red flags for ineffective, collaboration? Like if you're trying to collaborate, which of these do you think is, sorry for that typo, is supposed to be effective collaboration? So which of these is supposed to be a red flag? Number one, I am the lead author, so I will make the final decision. So imagine you find yourself in a collaborative group, and the lead author is always like, yes, I'm the lead author, so I will make the final decision, irrespective of whatever contribution all the other members have. versus can we set up a meeting to align our goals and make sure everyone is on the same page? I think my approach is best. So I prefer we stick with my plan. So which of these, please kindly drop your responses in the chat box. Let's see which of these do you think is a red flag actually for in the area of collaboration? Which of these do you think is good? Which of these do you think is a bad idea? Yeah, I can see the responses coming in 1 and 3. Still looking forward to others. Okay, someone said it's 1. 1 and 3, 3, 3. 1 and 3 are red flag. Okay. 3 is a red flag. 1 and 3. Thank you for your responses. Please keep them coming. 1 and 3. 1 and 3. Oh, okay. All right. Looks like majority voted for 1 and 3, which I also, agree with without any hesitation. I do agree that when you are engaged in collaboration. Okay, somebody said 2 is a good sign of inclusive decision making and foundation of effective collaboration. Thanks for that. All right. So with this now, let's try to look at what do we need to do then if we are going into collaboration. So this leads us to the do's of collaboration. What do we need to do? Number 1 is that at the onset of any collaborative project you are going into, please try as much as possible to define clear goals and expectations. What do you expect to achieve with this collaboration? What are we working at? What are we looking at? What is our goal? What are the anticipated outcomes? What do we stand to gain? What is the contribution we want to make to humanity? I recently gained a lot of experience in my current position when we actually, when I had the opportunity to contribute to the annual report writing for the project. Like you have to tell the funders what you want to do, and you also need to find a way to show that yes, you have been able to do it. And I'm very happy to have been part of that. So one very good knowledge I gain from that is that when you set a goal, it helps you, to keep track of what you actually want to achieve in your collaboration, which is something that is very good. So what is it? Then what are the expectations? What are you expected to do? For example, as a collaborator, are you expected to contribute resources? Are you expected to contribute to capacity development? Are you expected to be a leader in the project? Are you expected to probably have some kind of in-person meetings? All these things, you need to define them right from onset. And that is exactly one of the things we, focused on when we had the first in-person meeting for Dragnet, people coming from different parts of the world. Then we try to sketch out a map, like, okay, what do we want to achieve? How do we want to achieve this? Now we have our data set. How do we move forward with it? Secondly, establish open and honest communication. This is very, very important. There's no way you want to collaborate successively without being a very good, communicator. You have to be open. You don't have to hold grudges, against anyone. Now, one thing that is also important here is that don't feel intimidated yourself. I was in Germany in 2023 for a global research project, which my advisor actually facilitated. But, I looked into the room and it looks like there were only like 2 postdocs, 1 PhD. It's enough for you to feel intimidated, like, no, everybody here is just an expert. Yes, but they did not just become an expert in one day. So that should not affect the way you communicate. Be open. You need to be open and honest in your communication. Don't keep anything. If you have issues, be open about it. Communicate whatever issues you have. And that will really make you, it will make the people that are collaborating with you to value you as one of the project collaborators. Respect and value diverse perspectives. This is very, very important. especially if you are collaborating on a global scale. I do understand that collaboration can be at the local, regional, continental or global scale. But irrespective of the scale at which you are collaborating, please try as much as possible to respect and value diverse perspectives. For example, you may be deliberating on a particular issue, and maybe you strongly feel that your opinion is actually, seems to be the best way. You don't have to force it on other people. You also need to, listen to other people's opinion. Then in an open way, you understand, whoever is leading that, team would now, find a way so that everybody comes back to a common ground. But you don't feel like because you think you have a brilliant idea, everybody have to just take it like that. No, it doesn't work that way. That is the value of diversity. And on the other way around is if you also find out that, like the scenario I painted where early career researchers seems to be in minority within the big research team, it doesn't mean we should not also open up and talk about ourselves. It doesn't mean if we have a perspective we should not share it. So you need to come out openly, share your perspectives, but when other people also try to share their perspective, try to respect them, that is their own perspective. However, it doesn't mean that yours have to be binding. It doesn't mean that theirs have to be binding. But one of the good things that promote collaboration is finding a common ground when things like this actually spring up. Now, be flexible and adaptable. This is related to the previous point. So when you're working with different set of people, try as much as possible to be flexible. Don't be a rigid person like, no, it's whatever I say that has to be done. For example, maybe you have developed a manuscript and in the process of, reviewing it, somebody is suggesting something else that you need to do. Maybe the person has suggested like 3 or 4 things. If you come back and say all those 4 things are nonsense, you understand, even when they are not, then you are not being flexible and adaptable. You are just trying to, push your own idea or your own perspective on every other member of the team, which is not actually a good quality. Because one thing you also need to be aware of is that whatever your conduct is in the process of the collaboration, everybody is noticing. And that is going to determine whether you continue to collaborate or people will try to withdraw from working with you. So you really need to be conversant and pay attention to the way you collaborate with people. Share credit and acknowledge contributions. This is also very important. In collaboration, there's no I. The only thing that exists is we. So even if an aspect of the work was conducted or carried out by you, you don't have the sense of I actually did this. Let's say, for example, somebody suggested an additional analysis and somebody else in the team conducted the analysis. It should still be a we. Even though everyone knows that this is the person that suggested the analysis, this is the person that conducted the analysis. But when you are going out there, it is we, not that I conducted the analysis. Of course, when it comes to the issue of authorship contribution, we do understand that you need to, provide information on what Mr. A, B, and C within the collaboration have conducted. But more broadly, if you are presenting that outside, it has to be a we. And the team always comes first in this kind of situation. So now, what are the things we should not try to do when we want to collaborate effectively as well? The first thing here is that don't assume others know what you know. For example, you have you are working with a team of collaborators that include professors, assistant professors, associate professors, postdocs, PhD candidates. You will agree with me that everybody will have a different level of knowledge regarding the project. So whether you are the most senior in the team or you are the most junior in the team, in which hierarchy does not really matter for any collaboration that is going to be effective. So there's no senior or junior because everybody is coming together, to achieve a common goal. So irrespective of your level within the cadre, don't assume others know what you know. For example, if you are the most senior in the collaborative team, don't assume that everybody has your own experience. Come down to every other person's level. You communicate in a manner that you'll be happy you have communicated, and you also be happy that the people you are communicated with actually understand whatever you're saying. Last 2 weeks when we were having the Dragnet meeting, I met one of the biggest researchers in the area of grassland management when it comes to ecology, Andrew McDonald. I didn't even know he's the one. And this is somebody I've been, we are currently collaborating on another project, but I've not had the opportunity to meet him. We met, and at some point we had a subgroup, discussion. And I looked at that room. Every other person was either a postdoc or a PhD student. And Andrew was the only person that is the most senior among us. You understand? And the way he took the leadership for that discussion, the way he directed us to communicate, the way he encouraged us to, voice out our opinion, express our whatever we have. I really learned a lot about that. He's not assuming that, no, these people should know this. There was no assumption. It came down to our level. And that really helped us to have a very good and way forward. The only thing is that whatever we bring forth, we try to ruminate, and we are not also saying or thinking that because we know he's the most senior in the room, like everything he says has to be rubber stamped. No. If we have concerns about whatever he says, we also try to let him know we have this concern, we share it. And he also listens to us. We try to look at it together. So it's very important you don't assume others know what you know when you are collaborating with people. Now, secondly, don't dominate the conversation. Whether it's an in-person meeting, whether it's a virtual meeting, don't make it feel like you are the only one attending the meeting, when in actual sense, you have maybe at least 10 people attending the meeting or collaborating in the project. Yeah, it is good to be actively involved in the project, but don't be like you are the only one dominating. Like for everything, you have to be the one saying everything. It's not a bad idea for you to contribute at every point in time. But it should not be the case that you are the only one and other people don't have the chance, to also express their opinion or share their perspective about issues. So don't be a dominant player. Don't be like, I have to be the only one. It's not a bad idea to be at the center, depending on your expertise. But what we are trying to say here is that, don't be, for example, you're trying to deliberate on 5, 6 or different issues or assignment or stuffs, and, you are the only one contributing to all the 5. No other person is contributing. That is not a collaboration, because the strength actually comes from, when everybody is able to bring something to the table, no matter how small. So we need to bear this in mind. There will always be conflicts. We cannot rule that away. We cannot push that away. There will always be conflicts. But when we are collaborating, we don't have to ignore conflicts, because when we do, we are gradually, like digging the grave for the collaborative team. So don't ignore conflict or issues. And that is why in every collaborative team, it is very important to have leaders. And I do so much appreciate the distributed model of leadership in collaboration, which I'm still going to talk about before the end of the session. So when there is conflict, come out clean, be honest. Honesty is very important when we collaborate with ourselves, because you don't want to collaborate with somebody you don't trust. Trust is very important. And one of the ways you can actually express that, you trust people is when you have conflict, lay it down clear and be objective about it, such that when you express, what you feel or the conflict you think is existing or the conflict you observed, every other person within the team will be able to say that, no, this is a genuine concern. And as a result of that, this needs to be addressed. And that is why it is very important from the onset of the collaboration for everybody to know that when conflict arises, there must be a way to, find a way to resolve this. For example, I actually asked a question during the Dragnet meeting I attended in Minneapolis recently that, okay, because we are a very big research network, if I have an idea and somebody else also have an idea, which is not out of place, it is something that can happen. we can be living in different world and trying to pursue the same, question. That, okay, if this issue arises within this network, I have an idea, I've written my abstract. Somebody else also have an idea and they've written their abstract. And now we are competing because the protocol is that if you have an abstract, if you have an idea you want to research, you need to write an abstract justifying how your analysis is going to be different from whatever research has been conducted within the network. Now, if two different people submit similar, ideas, I was asking the coordinators that what is going to happen, because this is going to be a kind of conflict. And, their response was very interesting. What they told me was that there's an authorship committee that looks into every abstract. And once they find anything that is similar between different abstracts, then they find a way to mediate between the authors on how to move forward. Because this is not a network that is willing to replicate knowledge in pieces, but rather to co-create a knowledge that is going to be useful to the scientific community and the world at large. So they have a way to try to mediate between people that have that kind of conflict. So those kind of conflicts cannot be ignored. Imagine they don't have a mechanism in place to address this kind of conflict. I bet you the research network is not going to last, because small time you will see different, similar ideas flowing around, and it will now be a case of I brought up the idea first. No, he brought up the idea first. No, they are favoring him because probably they know him or something. So it is very important not to ignore conflict and to also have mechanism in place to see to how to address conflicts when they arise. Please, when you collaborate with people, don't assume, anything. When you are unclear about something, ask questions. Ask questions. Don't feel like I'll be judged. I was attending a training yesterday, and the facilitators from the onset of the training said, ask us any question. We are not going to judge anybody. That's a kind of relaxing environment that makes you understand that whatever you bring forth is not going to be looked at like, but why is he asking this kind of question? He should have learned this. He should have learned this right from when he was in graduate school. Like he should have known this as an undergraduate. Why is he asking this kind of question? Those kind of things will not make a collaborative group to thrive. So allow people to ask questions. If you are in a collaborative group, ask when you don't know something or when you are unsure. Because the consequences of assuming is that it is going to probably draw you 5 steps backward, in time, if you decide not to ask the question. And in the long run, people can also be like, you are probably not open, and that is why you are not asking that question. I do understand that the environment may also determine whether you are motivated to ask your question or not. But again, that is a foundational thing that needs to be laid right from onset of the collaboration. So you should be confident to ask any type of question as much as it is related to the project you are doing. Now, don't take credit for other people's work. That is very important. Yeah, it's usually the case that when we collaborate, we try to decentralize the work. We try to divide the work into pieces and ask somebody, you take care of this, you take care of this. So please try as much as possible not to take credit for any other person's work. For example, if you are not the one that did the analysis, don't claim you are the one that did the analysis. If you are not the one that writes the first paragraph of the introduction, please don't claim that. If you are not involved in the interpretation of results, please don't claim that. And I really had one of such experience during my research meeting in Germany. We were trying to wrap up a paper and in the authorship contribution, and one of the collaborators raised his hand like, sorry, it looks like something has been wrongly ascribed to me. Like I did not contribute to this aspect of the study, so I think my name should not be here. That is honesty. And that is not trying to take credit for other people's work. Maybe the person leading the project, was, made a mistake by including that person's name. But, it was very nice to see the person debunking that no, I did not contribute to that aspect. Don't put my name, for example, in the methodology. I did not conduct the analysis. I only interpreted the results and contributed to the introduction. or probably the discussion. And that will, everybody is going to value that kind of a person. Like, yes, this person is ethical. He's not trying to take away what other people have done, as a credit for himself. Because one of the consequences of that, I'll quickly share, is that if you take credit for what you did not do, it is going to show up later. When I was in China for my PhD, I collaborated with some of my colleagues on a paper, more or less like I had to kind of rewrite that paper. When I went back home after I completed my PhD, somebody actually reached out to me because of that paper. Even though I was not the corresponding author, I was not the first author, I was the second author on that paper. So somebody reached out to me that from, I can't remember it, from an Asian country. And it was like, he needs my help on that, on a similar research, that he has the data he has analyzed, but he doesn't really understand how to how to interpret the data. But because I understood that, I participated in that, I was able to help the person. You understand? Now imagine, and that is why journals are also calling for authorship and contribution statement now. So if I see your name on the authorship contribution statement saying that you actually run the analysis, and I feel like, okay, I don't have to reach out to everybody on the paper, and I reach out to you that, can you give me the code or guide me on this analysis? It will be ridiculous for you yourself to say I don't know, or I did not really participate in the analysis. It will make me feel like, so why was your name included in the analysis section in the author contribution statement? So it is very important for us not to, take credit for other people's work. And with this, I'm going to try to acknowledge the fact that one of the things that is good for us to do when we collaborate is to have authorship credit system. For example, the one I'm currently displaying is the authorship credit system of OAAD, which I can't remember when exactly, but maybe it was generated or developed in 2020. And this is one of the foundation for OAAD collaboration, where based on whatever contribution you make, which is also going to determine where your name is going to be in the authorship list. And this is something that is very important because it helps us to prevent, somebody feeling bad that the other person, his name is in front of him or something like that. You understand? So this kind of this kind of arrangement is something that is very good. And if you are collaborating with anybody and they do not really have this, maybe because it's a small group, it's not a bad idea to look for one that is reliable and try to adapt it. Yeah, the other one I'm showing is for the Nutrient Network authorship credit system. I did mention earlier that this network has been in existence for like 10 years, and that is the network that gave birth to the new Dragnet project, which I'm part of now. And this project again has produced a lot of interesting papers, up to like 150. So you can imagine, you might be imagining, how will a network produce paper up to 150? It is possible, because these papers are led by different people from different parts of the world. So you can, and our ability to look at data also differ. You can look at data from north side of, of the issue. I can decide to say, okay, I'm taking southwest, side to look at the data and generate something new for us. So that is one of the strengths in collaboration. And that is one of the, benefit of engaging in massive collaborative, teams and groups. So, yeah, so with this, we're going to be having another activity, and I implore every one of us to please try to contribute. So our second activity is that, imagine starting a new collaborative project with researchers across different cadres in academia. What would be your first contribution to show that you are committed to fostering an inclusive and productive collaboration? I look forward to see your responses in the chat box, please. Right. Looking forward to your responses. Um, Moving forward, if you are collaborating with people, with researchers, for instance, professors, assistant professors, postdocs, PhD candidates, masters, undergrads. So what would be your first contribution? Like you having the kind of inaugural, engagement or inaugural meeting, what would be your first contribution to show you are committed to fostering an inclusive and productive collaboration? Okay, somebody said make meeting. I'm sorry, I do not really understand that very well. Okay, this is from Dr. Victoria. She says inviting researchers from diverse backgrounds that can contribute to that project. That's interesting. Prof. Dr. Fatima said make meeting. Please, if you can kind of expatiate on that. I don't really understand what that means. Alan said keenly paying attention to whatever the project leader puts forward. Okay. Okay, somebody said, okay, I think that's not a response for the question. It's just a kind of compliment. Thank you. Good. Samaila said a draft of my idea I intend to contribute to the project. Interesting. Okay, Dr. Kojo said volunteer to lead on a task. Okay. Professor Fatima said collect CV of the project team. Share your ideas towards the project. These are all interesting ideas. I would like to see more, please. And I believe, as we are sharing these ideas, we are also kind of, making contributions, learning from each other. So this is what other people will do first. Is my own idea actually good? Should I also consider doing that first? Something like that. I am ready to take on task. Okay, that's from Lenovo. Okay, Abdurrahim Mukhtar says you will need presentation or make presentation on the collaboration needs, outlines and proposed steps to be adopted. Interesting. Akojo said create a structured agenda that allows for input from all team members, regardless of their academic rank or experience. Interesting. Focus on the area of my expertise to give my best. I like that a lot, Sharon. Let's see if we have one or two more, then we go ahead. I think this is kind of interesting. Being able to articulate the goals and expectations of the project, it's important to understand what we are doing and where we are going. Definitely, if we don't understand this, then we are going nowhere. Thanks, Dee, for that contribution. Musadik said, brainstorm ideas and perspectives to know what we are going to do. Great. Great. I see some people, saying the same thing in different ways, which is kind of interesting. And you also agree with me that other participants are also kind of giving thumbs up for some of your ideas. So which implies that they resonate. Try to know the fields of each member interest. I think that's very important, Grace, because that way you would be able to know what assignment to give to who. Yeah, that's very interesting. Yeah, all right. Thank you everyone for your contribution. I sincerely appreciate that. Also, the STEM field sort of repressed. I don't get that in Lenovo. Maybe if you can add more context, it might be able to help us understand. Yeah, but let's move forward for the sake of time. So, what are the best practices for effective collaboration? What are some of the things that we need to do to be an effective collaborator and to make the collaboration progress positively? So first, active listening. Active listening is very important. Most of the time you will find out that people actually listen to respond. They don't listen to understand. So, and active listening involves that you listen to understand. You understand what the other person is saying. So, for example, if somebody is trying to share an idea, allow them to share their idea. Don't just jump into it like you are raising an objection on the floor of a Senate. Let me put it that way, whether it's local senate or state or federal level. So you need to listen actively. Try and understand what the speaker is saying before you try to respond. So it's not a must that you always respond to everything, but if you are an active listener, you would be able to. Some of these things we mentioned in the chat box will become a reality. For example, we will be able to understand where everybody is coming from. You understand? And when you are ready to make your own contribution, you will find out that you will be able to make valuable contribution when you finally do. Then active participation is also very important. I've had experiences where people say they are collaborators on a project, but they hardly do anything. For example, in Dragnet, for example, for you to be an author on any paper, you have to even if you have contributed data, it doesn't make you an author on the paper. That is just one rubric, So for you to be an author on the paper, you have to, check at least 2 boxes. So which means if you contribute data, then you check 1 box. Then the other thing is either you contribute to conceptualizing the idea, writing the paper, conducting the analysis, interpreting the data, or you even collect. Somebody must have done the analysis, then you collect the code and rerun the analysis for consistency and to check that everything is correct and intact. So you have to check another box. But you find out that in some instances, you always wonder, like, why is everybody on this paper? Why do you have a lot of people on this paper? You understand? So there are some instances like that. But one thing I'll mention here is that if you're an active participant in a project, trust me, it is going to open more doors for you. Because when people need to do other projects, they will definitely remember you. While I was attending the Dragnet meeting, the person I mentioned that I met, there was something everybody was saying about him. Like, Andrew will always, provide constructive comment on your paper. Like, it would always make, contribution to paper. So he's not the type that would want to just be on a paper just for the sake of being on it. Don't be like that type of a researcher. You should try as much as possible to be active when you are involved in project. And that way, not that you are trying to show off, but you are trying to show that you are valuable. And you are also trying to tell your collaborators that, hello, this collaboration should not stop here. We should also, keep working together, on other projects. So set clear roles and responsibilities. What are your roles? Somebody mentioned in the comment section that he or she would like to know what the area of expertise of each collaborator is. That is very important because that way you would be able to, assign roles and responsibilities in a very correct way. For example, you will not tell somebody that is an agricultural economist to go and, do an assignment related to microbial ecology. You will not tell somebody that is in physics to do an assignment that is related to ecology. So knowing that will help you to set clear roles and responsibilities, and it will also allow people to be able to volunteer to take roles on different aspects of the project, which is going to be very interesting. I really like the idea of, okay, this is everything we want to do. These are all the tasks involved. Please volunteer to, take one of these tasks. And you will understand that before you know it, everybody has, volunteered for 1 or 2 tasks within the list. And before you know it, you just see that maybe you have 1 or 2 left. And that is one of the strengths of collaboration. Establish a decision-making process. This is very important from the onset. For example, when conflict arises, how do we go about it? And the moment you are in any collaborative team that is tending towards, like, let's say 25 and above, I do not see any reason why you should not have a kind of committee, small committee, let's say 3 to 5 man committee that would try to oversee issues. You understand? And that is where the issue of trust comes in. Once everybody trusts each other, you would not look back once those committees give recommendations. And that is why it is very important for us to, trust each other when we are doing collaboration. Because, this is something that if somebody among us do something that is wrong, the consequences is going to be on everybody. So it's not all about the person did the analysis wrong. When the person did the analysis, who among the team tried to verify what has been done? Do you understand? So it's not enough to say, oh, the analysis was faulty. Maybe a corrigendum need to be published. A corrigendum, for some of us that may not be familiar, is when the fault or a mistake is identified in a paper and they have to probably do the analysis again or make some certain corrections, then now publish a new version of the paper. It's not enough for you to say, no, I did not actually do the method. So because of that, you can't hold me accountable. Everybody will be held accountable, at least on that project. So that is why it is very important to, also establish a decision-making process. Like when issues like this occur, how are we going to take care of it? Now, foster a positive and inclusive culture. This is very important because the more inclusive we are, the more people would want to, join our work, and the more people want to learn about our work. If you go on internet now and you type NUTNET, NUTNET, you'll see that it's a very nutrient network. It's a very big organization, a research network rather, with participants from different parts of the world. That shows that team has been inclusive, because if it is not inclusive, it is easy for people to withdraw, whether directly or indirectly. So fostering an inclusive culture and having a positive mindset is also very important for us when we collaborate. So, sorry. Yeah, I really like this idea a lot, and I actually learned this in my current postdoc position. Employ a distributed model of leadership. This is very important. For example, let's say you are a team of 15 to 20 collaborators, and you plan to write, let's say, 3 to 4 papers from your project, it's very important that different people lead that paper. That is number one. Number two, let's say even on one paper that you're trying to write, you're trying to do analysis, you're trying to come up with the storyboard that is going to support your analysis, you're trying to do some other things. No matter the task you have, it's always important that you have some set of people, that are leading those chunks. For example, in our big project, we recently facilitated a training at the completed Ecological Society of America conference. I was also a part of the facilitator. Now, what I'm trying to bring forth here is that when we have small projects, the PIs in our project make sure that those projects are led by different people, especially with the early career, researchers. And one of the advantage of that is that, it really helps us to learn about not the science alone, but the administrative aspect as well. How do you manage people? Because this is something that is very important. And that is why you see that some labs are very toxic. Not because the PI is not a good scientist, but because the PI lacks leadership skills. And these are some of the things we can actually pick up through collaboration. When you work with people from different, regions of the world. Imagine I once contributed to a paper that has almost 300 authors. Same data, different analysts. It has almost like 300 authors. And one interesting thing again about that paper is when I attended the drag meeting, I actually met the professor that led that idea, that led that paper, while he was a visiting scientist in Australia. You understand? But what I'm trying to bring forth here is that when you have, distributed model of leadership, let each member or let a lot of members in your collaborative team have access to leadership. Don't just be the only one leading everything. You are the one leading this one. You are the one leading the second paper. You are the one leading this project. How do you want other people to learn? So you need to make sure that other people also have access to, leading some kind of work, no matter how small it is, because working with different set of people, comes with different flavor at different time. Yeah. Clear and concise language. When you communicate with your collaborators, be clear. Though you don't need to use scientific jargon. For example, if you are a professor and you are working with, other people across different grades, and maybe you only have 2 professors in your project and you have like 5 postdocs, maybe 7 undergrads. When you want to communicate, come down to everybody's level. Use simple and clear terms. Don't use languages that people would have to be going back to read some papers to understand them. And when you do have to use some kind of words that are technical, try to explain them, simplify it, let people know what you imply without needing to be looking for other resources to understand what you are actually trying to say. Then leverage technology. This is something that is very important for collaboration, honestly. And I think I'm still growing in this. For example, the peanuts paper I showed was written on Overleaf. I'm sure a lot of people will know Overleaf, but that was the first time I'm using Overleaf. And I'm also looking forward to leading a particular project within the team, leading a work within the team using that Overleaf. I'm not super, I'm not super good at Overleaf for now, but at least I have an idea. But that is one other thing this distributed model of leadership will teach you. Now, if I have the chance to lead another people within the group using that Overleaf, I'll be forced to know it in more details, right? And once I know it in more details, it becomes easy for me to also be able to teach somebody else or guide any other person about that. You see how everything is kind of interwoven together. So the use of technology is very important. In our project also, we also use Confluence. Confluence, is more or less like a documentary, a documentary app. It's a paid app actually. But what Confluence do for you is that, for example, if you have periodic meetings, let's say we have meeting today, then we can go on Confluence and keep a date and say, meeting notes for so projects. Then we put it there. You understand? Every time we have meeting, we can always put it there. Somebody is going to be the owner of that document. And that helps us to be able to track the progress of the project. So even if somebody said something in maybe 5 meetings away or 5 meetings back, but we cannot remember, we can always go back to the note and open it up on Confluence and see what the person has said. Then we also use Slack to maintain communication within the team. For example, if we have announcements or anything like that. I'm sure there are other technologies out there that we can actually leverage for collaboration. So please be open to, learning about new technologies as regards collaboration. Now, mutual respect is also something that is very important. Yeah, mutual respect other people, irrespective of whether you are the same colleague or they are far above, ahead of you, or they are far behind you. When you respect people, you understand, you earn their trust as well. And you also show yourself as somebody that is valuable, somebody that can, be easily worked with. You understand? So it is very important to exhibit mutual respect. So from this discussion we have today, so what are the key takeaways for us moving forward with our collaboration? Number one, when you are collaborating with people, be hard on facts and gentle with people. I've had instances, where, I actually learned about this when I went for the Germany research, and that was one of the first things my advisor told me, that here we are very hard on facts. Maybe somebody's trying to prove a point, but we are gentle with people. And what does that imply? That implies that even if you disagree with your fellow collaborator on something, don't attack personality. Do you understand? Let's say somebody is trying to somebody proposed a theory that should be used in the work you're doing, but you strongly feel that theory is not applicable to that work. You should only justify why that theory is not applicable. Don't attack the person. Do you understand? Don't say anything that is going to be seen as being personal. You don't have to be personal. You are only trying to, make everybody feel good. You're only trying to say that, look, we just need to we just need to get the facts clear. So be hard on facts, but you should be gentle with people. You don't have problem with people. But when you take this approach, it should be understandable by your collaborators that you are just being objective and there's no string attached. Active participation can pave the way for more collaboration. When you're actively involved in several projects without actually trying to be dominant, it paves more way. For example, if you and I have collaborated and I could see that you are always, you are kind of an active person, trying to volunteer to take contact. If I have other, collaboration, I would be able to say, hey, I have this other work. Do you mind to work on this with me? And I've experienced that a bit, like somebody recommending me to another person. Like there was a paper I contributed to from China on functional ecology recently. A colleague actually recommended me to the person, like if you actually need somebody to look into this work, if it has to do with below ground ecology, then you can actually reach out to this person. So when you are active in your collaboration, it paves more way for you. Then collaboration thrives on trust, respect, clear communication, and a supportive environment. And we must always try as much as possible to contribute our quota in making sure this is the situation whenever we find ourselves in collaborative groups. And with that, I want to sincerely thank the following colleagues for their contribution to this presentation via our discussion. Dr. Victoria Anthony of Iowa State University, Mrs. Blessing Osara Matis from Lagos State University, and Dr. Samaila Osman from Lanzhou University in China. And with that, I wrap up the presentation. Thank you very much for having me.
Wow, that was a very wonderful one. Thank you so much, Dr. Said Jimoh. Please, for all participants in the house, could you just maybe give him a thumbs up, or on the emoji button, you could send a thumbs up, send a thank you. He has done justice to the topic. I don't know, it's like you're in a lecture series and you can actually see the flow, okay? We came to learn on the do's and don'ts for effective collaboration. And we started like from what the collaboration is, the do's, then the don'ts, then what you actually need to do to effect it. And even the take-home messages are still right on point. So we really, really appreciate the justice that you've done to this work. And this is it's going to be like a lecture series. So this is just like one of one. And he was the one that we brought in to like start up the webinar series for our group. So thank you so much, Dr. Jimoh. We really, really appreciate everything you've had to share with us based on your experiences, based on your knowledge and every other thing. Dragnet, OAAD experience, that has been a wholesome talk that we've had. Thank you so much. So now this is the Q&A question. I've been trying to make, engage on the chat box that you can send in your questions. But if you actually have a question, you could just use any of the buttons and just raise your hands, and then I'll just call up. Okay, I think we have one hand raised. Dr. Samaila, your hand is raised. Could you, if possible, open your video and then let's get to hear from you on your question.
Okay, I don't know if you can see me. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I would like to first thank the speaker for doing justice to the topic. I really followed it like with a keen attention to every, thing he presented. And, as you said, he has gone deep beyond what we have seen in the topic. And they say the reward for hard work is more work. So I have some, maybe a deeper question. I have just two questions that I don't know what will be the opinion of the speaker on these questions. One is, what could be the possible causes of failure in collaborative projects? And then the second question is, how can we redeem, a failed collaborative project? I don't know if you have gotten.
Sorry, I didn't get the second one.
How can we redeem a failed collaborative project?
Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to get my pen so I don't get lost. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hope.
Yes,
I hope you have gotten the questions. Yeah,
we have that. Okay, Dr. Jimoh, did you get the questions?
I do, but I think it might be better for me to respond on one-on-one, if you don't mind. Yeah. So I'll start from the back. Like how can we redeem a failed collaborative project? Well, it depends on why the first thing is that we need to know why the project failed. Is it because we don't have enough expertise? Is it because we have the wrong peg in the right hole? So, we need to ask certain questions before we can be able to say, this is how we can go about that. So that is very fundamental. But one thing is that once we are able to identify what the problems are, then I think the solution becomes clear to us. For example, if it is because we are supposed to be having more expertise in the team, do you understand? Maybe an agricultural economist trying to do the work of an animal experience with that. They taught me some things in school. I should be able to do that. So if that is the kind of problem, then it simply implies that if the project is going to work, we need to look for somebody, that is an animal scientist, to bring the person on the team so that we can have a better contribution on how to move forward. That is one. Number two, it could be due to administrative issues. Leadership is something that is very important. And if you don't have a very good leader in projects, then it is actually bound to fail. And one of the things I've learned from my present position is that, if you really want a project to work, then you should give room for everyone to be a part of the decision process, even if they are not contributing to the decision. For example, let them know why you are taking certain decisions. And that is one of the things we actually shared in our opinions paper. Like, in our project, even though we are postdocs, our PIs do not see us as, just being mere postdocs. They see us as collaborators. Yes, we do give them the due respect they deserve. Do you understand? But when it comes to working together, they try to give us the room to express ourselves. For example, if they are taking a decision, they let us know why they are taking that decision. Giving that kind of information makes whoever you're working with feel comfortable. And it also shows that you value the person. Not you even trying to ask why a decision was taken, and probably the leader was just like, that's just the best decision that we can take. If you think you don't want to be in that kind of environment, you will definitely withdraw, because you feel like perhaps you are not valued. So first thing is, you have to value everybody in the team, carry everybody along, and that's one of the essence of open communication. Communicate with people in an open manner. Let people know this is the process, this is what we are doing next. For example, we're going to be having our next set of meetings over the next semester. There's already what is it called? There's already an information about that, saying this is when the meetings will start. Please put it in your calendar and stuff like that. Do you understand? For example, also there's already a call, like if you are interested in applying for jobs now, we will set up a team to review application materials. If you are interested, drop your details so that you can be matched with a PI to review your documents. At every point in time, whatever is happening, keep updating people. Some people might see it as, why do you have to provide such detailed information? You need it if you want people to trust you. And that is the first thing. If people don't trust you, they can't work with you.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm trying to remember the first question.
Okay, the first question was, what are the causes of failure in collaborative projects?
Well, I think the questions are kind of related. Possible things that can make a project fail: lack of expertise. Number two, maybe if you give a timeline that is not realistic. Maybe you do understand yourself that this project is supposed to run for 5 years, but you probably, because you are pursuing a funding or something, you decided to say it is going to work in 2 years, knowing fully well that it's not going to work, but because you just want to get the funding. So that project is bound to fail.
Okay.
Then another thing is that you need to keep appraising the project. Continuously you have to appraise the project. I mentioned earlier that I was fortunate to contribute to the annual report of our project team. And I see how much time our PIs devote into making sure that they put out the correct information. Because here in the US system, when you write that annual report, it has to be sent to the NSF, and NSF also have to approve it. And for them to approve it, it means that they are able to verify every bit of the thing you are saying. And there's no way you want to be able to collect that kind of information if you are not carrying everybody along. Do you understand? So timely evaluation of your project is also very important. Now, the timely evaluation will now depend on how long is your project. If you're having a 5-year project, you don't want to be doing evaluation every 2 or 3 months. Do you understand? At most, you might want to say, okay, every 6 months, let us see how far we have gone. Do you understand? And that will really help you to keep in track to see whether you are falling behind, or you are doing the right thing, or you are the brilliant, project people that are over achieving what you actually set forth.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Jimoh, for addressing those questions. We still have a couple of questions on the chat box. I am quite mindful that our time is almost running a bit. I would crave our indulgence so that we can just address the questions in the chat box and then have a wonderful wrap to this meeting. So we have a question from Musaddiq Abbas. Should collaboration only be between experts or among young graduate students? And I think he has a follow-up, which is he actually asked the 3 questions. How should studies and roles be assigned? Do we allow people to just choose what they are interested, or how? And the 3rd question from him says, what determines the author ranking based on the OAAD credit system? Is it the number of points?
For the first question, should collaboration only be between experts or even among young graduates? No, that's not the order of the day, because if only experts are collaborating, how do we train? How do we get trained? For example, some people trained us, and we should also be looking forward to becoming experts and training other people. So the idea is that you should collaborate with people across levels. However, it doesn't mean this collaboration is not just you being involved in one project. So you can actually be involved in, different number of projects, but you also have to consider your capacity. So the basic answer is no. Collaboration can, be between, people across different levels of different cadres in academia. And that is one of the best way to collaborate, because when you have people from different levels, you have different level of energy, you have different level of expertise, then knowledge transfer becomes also easy in that situation. Secondly, how should duties and roles be assigned? Do we allow people to just choose what they are interested, or how? I think the most effective way is for you to allow people to volunteer to take on what they want to do, because that way they can take ownership of whatever they volunteer to do. For example, if you, I'm just saying this as an example, if you come up with an outline of a paper and okay, let me say this. I recently got a kind of opt-in invite to contribute to a NewtNet paper. And in that paper, they already have the abstract, they have the results, they kind of have a small aspect of the method. So in their own network, what to do is that if you are interested in the paper, you sign up. Then when you sign up, you need to let the lead author know what you want to do, which I think is the best way to go. Because if you have signed something to somebody, do you understand? Even if the thing is wrongly assigned, the person may not talk. And that means that work is not going to get done. But if you allow people to take on what they think they are motivated to do, then you have a better result. Although it may be the case that after people volunteer to take roles, you can still have some things left. That is not a bad idea. Do you understand? And if you see that there are nobody taking on those ones that are left, you can go ahead with the ones that have been taken. It simply implies that you are moving forward while you also try to think about how to get the remaining ones done. And don't be surprised that if you have 28 tasks and maybe 15 or 10 or 12 are taken by the collaborators, the 8 remaining can actually still be redistributed as a kind of moving to the next phase. It could be like, okay, now we have finished this phase, we have finished all the tasks, now we have all this left. Who is interested in this? And if nobody is coming forward, you just need to let everybody know that these things are not going to do themselves. Are we all okay for me to assign roles to yourself? In my project, when people assign roles to you, they also give you the room that please reach out to me if you think the role I've assigned to you is not appropriate for you, or you think it's too much for you, or you have any concern. So once you give that room, things will get better. Thirdly, what determined the author ranking? What determined the author ranking based on the OAD credit system? With my experience, I think is the point, but perhaps Dr. Kojo or Dr. Victoria might be able to do more justice to that. Yeah, I'm a member of OAD, but I don't think I have, a very big authority to speak to that. But based on the stuff I showed, I think it has to do with the number of points. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Jimoh. And we actually have 2 other questions I'm hoping we can briefly touch before we wrap everything. We have from Sharon Ayo: is there a limited number of people to collaborate in writing a research paper for it to be accepted as one of a PhD candidate's publications? That's from Sharon.
That question is kind of dicey, because if you say it's your PhD publication, that means it's a work from your PhD research. I do not really expect to see too many authors on that kind of a paper. But however, I would not be surprised to see members of your committee on the paper, and maybe some people that helped you in your lab, whom you think actually deserve authorship on the paper. For example, when I joined this current lab that I work for, we had to go do some kind of field work that is kind of intensive. I needed to help some PhD students and stuff like that. And at some point, my advisor was like, yes, you should get credit for all these things you're doing, because that is one of the things that makes you an author on a paper, right? Contributing to the method or conducting the research, which you have actually done. So for a PhD paper, I would not expect that you have a lot of people. Do you understand? I expect it to be a kind of closed paper between you and your advisory team. However, if you come up with any idea outside of your PhD, because for example, I'm sure many people here have that experience. I was, able to publish like 15 papers during my PhD, and I think only 4 are from my PhD chapters, which means the remaining 11, came outside of my PhD through collaboration. And out of that 15, I was first author. Out of that 15, I was first author in 5. So just to let you know that you have the room to collaborate with people, but don't overdo it. And one of the advantage collaboration also gives you is that, for example, if you are having issues getting your own PhD paper published, if you collaborate with other people and those kind of work are getting published, then it gives you motivation that you are actually doing fine. You just need time and putting more effort to get to where you're going.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Jimoh. And then to our last question from Samsung SM. He said, I want to ask one question. Since the majority of people are West African guys, it is likely sometimes some East African guys are few, resulting to low social networking. So is it a propensity that we guys from Eastern Africa to be included in the system? It seems that the collaboration is highly among the guys from the same countries/regions, resulting to the reluctance of some people.
I do not really get the context of that question, but I'm assuming it is referring to OAD. And if that is the point, actually OAD is kind of open to all Africans. And I think one of the ways, like if you are not in the building, you cannot actually, ask how things have been done. So perhaps people are feeling like maybe there's a very big, barrier to getting involved in OAD or something. That is not the case. Do you understand? So whether we are from Eastern Africa or Western Africa or Southern Africa, I think OAD is a body that is open to everyone. Yeah, I don't know if Dr. Kojo want to speak a bit to this in terms of perspective.
Yes, so I know the guy who asked the question is actually my colleague here. I think his concern is that he doesn't see a lot of East African guys in our community, which I don't think is clearly the case. There are a lot of East African guys. There's even a position that is for the East African, we have the VP, the Vice President for the East African region. So there are a lot of guys here who have even joined the meeting, like Dr. Adel from Sudan, which is in East Africa. I can see Dr. Jim Bosco from Rwanda. There are a lot of East African guys here. So I think you need to get more integrated into a larger community so we can connect with more East Africans. There are more East Africans here. It's not only restricted to only West Africa. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. I think we also have like on the chat box Grace, and she's like, I'm Central African. So please, OAAD, if we work based on research areas, that's why this is Agric research group. We have the microplastic group, we have the engineering group. There's so many groups, and this is like a broad body, whether you're East, North, South, West, multi, whichever, as long as you're of African descent. That's the criteria for OAAD. You're a PhD holder, you're a PhD candidate, and you're of African descent, then this is where you need to be, okay? So thank you so much for all the questions. And I still saw like the very last one for Nath Belang. It says, is it really necessary to sign research agreements, especially when you belong to the same organization like OAAD? That's Research Collaboration Agreement. Dr. Jimoh, could you help us handle that, please?
Well, for if you belong to the same organization, I don't think there's any reason for you to sign any agreement. And that also speaks to the issue of trust. You understand? For example, I remember when I was in Germany last year, one of the things, because it more or less like I was getting inducted into the team. And one of the things, I was informed is that, here, any idea generated from the group belongs to the group, irrespective of who brings the idea. Any research idea generated from the group belongs to the group. So it is now left for you to show that you have ethics by not, sharing that kind of idea with everyone outside. I have a very close friend here in the meeting. He was to help me on something, and that thing actually required me to share data with him if he has to help me. But we both understand I cannot share that data for ethical reasons. And because of that, we needed to find another way to solve the problem. That is ethics. You understand? So sometimes it's not always about, signing an agreement, but you have to display that ethics yourself. Like, yes, I understand this ethics and I'm upholding it. So for an organization like OAD, I don't think there's anything like signing a research agreement. And, you also agree with me that signing a research agreement simply implies that people don't yeah, it may not mean that people don't trust each other, but maybe they are working together for the first time, which will not be a bad idea, especially if somebody is just reaching out to you. People sign MOU, you understand. But for an organization like OAD, I don't think that is necessary. But also, even if you trust yourself and it's a unanimous decision that let's put this into writing and sign it, I don't see any problem in that actually.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. And then we're having some queries on people that are interested in joining the OAAD platform. Okay, so please, we would attend to you shortly on those. I think I've seen a message from Sharon and Musadik. So just give us a moment. And if you're also interested in joining the WeChat group, maybe for OAD, the family body, or for the Agric research group, you could just post a message and we would engage with you on that. So I think we have been able to have a very wonderful, insightful, concise, and wholesome conversation on the do's and don'ts for effective collaboration. And to the best of my knowledge, we've addressed all the questions that came in so far. If you still have further questions, or if you want to engage with Dr. Jimoh one-on-one in person, or any of us on the platform, please feel free to do so. And a message has also been posted that if you need a recording of the meeting, you could just post your work email and we would still get back in contact with you. So once again, please, could we go ahead to just appreciate Dr. Jimoh Sai for making it out of his busy schedule just to come in here and share this insightful knowledge, resources, hands-on experience that he has with us. Thank you so much, Dr. Jimoh. We really appreciate your time. Dr. Kojo, do you have anything for us before we wrap up? And before Dr. Kojo comes up, we have a culture, because we're going to be taking a screenshot of ourselves. So please start getting ready to open up your videos while we take a picture of ourselves, all the participants on the group. But I would like to call up Dr. Kojo for concluding remarks.
Thank you very much. I don't have much to say, but to say thank you all for participating. First and foremost, a big thanks to our facilitator, my old good brother, Dr. Jimoh. That in spite of your busy schedule, at a point in time, my heart started beating that you might not be able to make it because of your tight schedule. And thank you for coming through for us. And thank you for also generously sharing your experiences and also even going beyond our expectation for the session. And just like my sister mentioned, this is just in the series of session that we'll be having as a community to enrich ourselves, to connect with ourselves, and also to engage ourselves, and so that we can all grow together in this community and also go out there and impact our communities and our countries as large. On behalf of the OAD Executive Council and on behalf of the research group team members, including myself and our very indefatigable secretary, Dr. Anthony, thank you very much for making it and also staying through. And for those who are not part of the larger OAD community, just like she mentioned, please reach out to me or reach out to her or any of our members, and then we'll get you connected and help you be part of one of the communities that we have. And also, if your specialty is in agriculture or the agri-food sector, it could be food science and technology, food engineering, microbiology, that have interfaces with agriculture. Yes, we could also add you to our very smaller group, which is the OAD Agriculture Research Group. We are quite a dynamic and thriving community, and we would love to have you to bring your perspectives on board to enrich our experience. So we thank you all for coming, and we thank you for also being patient with us when we had to wait for a brief time for our facilitator to join us. Before I hand over back to the secretary, so we'll be having one section before the end of this month. We are still contemplating between two of our facilitators, trying to gauge their availability. So once that is setting, hopefully by the end of next week, we should be setting as a which of the session will come first before the end of this month. And so please, those of you who are on our platform, be on the lookout. We'll be posting the update as to which one we are going to have, whether we want to have, how to optimize your LinkedIn. As researchers, I think LinkedIn is one of the good platforms where we can really build our network and also enrich our collaborative search as we advance as early career researchers. And so we want to bring somebody who has the experience and has leverage on this platform to grow in terms of their expertise, to share how you can optimize your profile and also to build your network over there. And also connect with experienced researchers and other resources that could be helpful to you in your growth as a researcher. So I'd like to thank you all for this opportunity, and thank you for your participation. Dr. Onyanga, back to you.
Yes, sir. All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Kojo, and how you've been able to wrap us up. So the last icing on the cake, please kindly open up your videos. Let's take a picture of all of us, all the participants for the event, alongside with our able facilitator. Okay, I think I've seen, please, how do you say your name? Nthabeleng, right?
Nthabeleng.
Nthabeleng. Okay, I'm learning. Thank you so much. I've seen Grace. I've seen Musadik, Samaila, Samsung SMA7160. That's a brand. Okay, so please, I'm still waiting for the rest of us to come up with our videos. Michael, thank you. Felix, whoa, I'm seeing some wonderful people this morning. Sharon,
Hello.
Alan, Moses, Noreen. So, okay, we finished the meeting officially. Now this is like OAD family. Some of you have missed you guys. Like I've not seen the faces, and I'm just so excited seeing several of us this morning. Please, please, please. I think just about 25% of us have opened our videos. So please, the rest of us, Frederick, Ishak, Noreen, Moses, Lenovo, Promise, Isaac, could you guys just try to open up your videos? Let's take a wonderful picture. Everybody's looking radiant and bright this morning, afternoon, evening slash. Thank you, Alan. That's nice of you. Okay, so the icing on the cake, just try and put a smile, okay? Don't take life too serious. So we're still getting there. The PhD will come, the job will come, money will come, everything. So just try and smile. All right. I would still love the rest of us to open our videos. We have like, just have the screen is open. Dr. Kojo, are you taking the pictures? I can go ahead at my end.
I think we can do both from our ends, from your end.
All right, sir. All right, sir. So, okay, I'm on the first page. Oh, some people have stopped smiling already. Why? Sharon, I was loving your smile. Yeah, that's better. Okay. Okay, so I think I've gotten a couple from my end. And with that, I just want to say a very big thank you to everyone that participated in today's event. And please be on the lookout for what we have upcoming towards the end of the month. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. And on behalf of the OAD group, I sincerely apologize for the 17 minutes that we've taken of your time, but you and I would both agree that it was very needful. So I'm wishing you a lovely evening, a lovely night, a lovely morning, and Kennedy, I'm just seeing you now. Tukak, I'm just seeing these faces. I'm still taking, all right, I'm still taking one more picture. But yeah, do have a lovely evening and feel free to sit back and interact. But officially, the meeting is over. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Hey, I saw Blessing here. Blessing from Lagos State University. She's still here.
Oh, yes. I think
I have a question.
Please feel free to interact. This is the Agric family
Thank you so much.
post webinar. Yeah.
Who is Grace? Who is Grace in this thing? I saw Grace.
I saw Grace, but it's a guy. I thought it's a lady.
In fact, it is like a picture. He's not moving even at all.
No, the video is on. He's there.
Okay. Finally, Grace is working.
Hi, guys. Hi, guys.
Hi, Nathan.
I'm a guy.
Okay.
Oh, okay, this is muscular Grace.
Yes.
Samaila, you need to be nice.
No. I just asked.
Tukak, you're still at the office? What time is it? Whoa.
So are we going to get the
yes, so
recording?
once you've added your email address, we'll email the recordings, a link, and also we'll email that to you. We'll email a link to the recording. I'll also share the PPT with you via your email. Okay. And be on the lookout. We'll also share the update with you for the next session via your email as well.
Exactly.
Okay,
Thanks
I'm
for
actually interested in agriculture. I'm a small-time farmer,
whoa, then
small-scale
you're right.
farmer. So
You are the
You're in
right
the
place.
right place.
I'm not a
Please,
professional.
I'm
I'm
looking,
not a
I'm looking for
professional farmer.
Jackson.
I'm just
Please,
I'm doing it for
where's
subsistence.
Jackson? Where has
Jackson
he
Coco.
been? Like, uh,
Lesotho.
huh?
Lesotho.
Oh,
That's
Lesotho
South
in the
Lesotho is
house.
Africa.
Southern Africa.
Okay,
Oh,
nice. We are so glad having you with us. So whether you are a small scale farmer, a large scale farmer, whatever enterprise you're running, as long as you're in agriculture, you're in the right place. Okay.
Small scale farmer, but she's
We are glad
very
having you.
so
I
Osman,
can't
where are
she's
find
a
you
big
hiding?
farmer indeed.
Jackson is missing from the group.
Samila, you're saying
Victoria,
something?
Jackson is missing. Like, where has he been?
Jackson.
Like,
Yes, some of us, you know yourself. So feel free to check up on your colleagues that you've been seeing 2-3 years ago, like that you've not seen lately. So go and check on Jackson Samila. Okay. That's Sharon Ayo. It's actually nice to meet you. I think from
Okay, bye-bye, guys.
nice to meet
I'm leaving. Bye-bye.
all right, Nathalie,
Bye.
take care of yourself.
Actually,
Lawrence, I
I'm
can see
into
you.
agricultural trade. So I don't
Okay.
know so
Oh,
if I'm in the right
So
place
Joe,
because
I'm forwarding her to you. Agricultural trade. That's the guy to
good.
meet. Yeah,
oh
exactly.
all right, thank you.
Dr. Felix, it's so nice having you. Just in the quiet mood today. We've not heard your voice, not even
No,
Pim.
I'm looking forward to connect
Look
with
at,
you.
we've not heard your voice, not even
Said,
Pim.
my question actually is we have a failed project in Agric group. Oh. So that's why I'm asking, how can we redeem it? I wish Jackson is here. He would have.
Which is the failed project? I don't think we have currently have any failed projects. I would like to correct that. The fact that you couldn't get it published in a formal journal publishing outlet does not mean it's a failed project. All the projects that were not able to make it into formal peer review publications were published as preprints.
Preprints, yeah.
Currently, we don't have any project that don't have visibility that other journals have. So there's no failed project in our group. However, we are still looking at how to revamp those projects into a full-scale project so we can update them for formal peer review publications.
Exactly.
Ayla,
And since it's
you've
also a
been running away
collaborative
for a
work,
long time. You need to connect with us.
exactly. So
Yeah.
Samaila, I think we are going to be engaging more with you on that because it's a collaborative project and we need more hands to actually get it moving and running. So thanks for bringing that up.
Yes, because I have been
Dr.
doing
Mevo,
it. I was the one administering
Yeah,
it at
boss.
the but
how are you,
Okay.
bro?
I'm cool. You too.
has not been
I'm good.
easy actually.
Are you back in
Great.
GH or you're still in China?
Still in China now.
Oh, okay. We'll connect
Yeah.
privately. Fred,
Sure,
is it my own Frederick Sosa? Dr. Sosa?
No, this is Felix Samebo.
Yes, there's another Frederick
Felix.
here.
Oh, okay.
Is there another Felix? I thought it's just, okay.
Isaac.
Dr. Jimoh,
Hi.
it's always a pleasure having you, as always.
Thank you for having me. I think
Thank
I need
you.
to run now, actually. It's still
Yeah.
very early in the morning.
Same
Yeah,
here,
Dr.
same here.
Jimoh,
But
get
it
some
is
rest. I'll
weekend. But
get
it
back
is
to you.
weekend now.
Us.
Dr.
Yeah.
Jimoh, get some rest. I'll connect with you. We'll have some
All right,
unfinished
sir.
business to do. Thank you so much. Yes.
All right,
for-
the honor is mine, honestly. The honor is mine. I feel honored
Thank you
to
so much.
kind of be here to share my experience, honestly. And thanks
Thank you.
everyone for coming by.
Secretary, please, can you give me a time?
Hi,
Please?
Danilola,
I want
Injeri,
to have a
Dr.
word.
Adel. Okay, please go ahead.
All right, bye,
No,
guys.
All right,
Secretary.
Dr. Jimoh, have a great day ahead.
Yeah.
Dr. Vicky.
Was someone asking a question? Yeah.
Yeah, it is me.
Malam.
Like, I just want to have a word with you, maybe privately after this meeting. So I don't know if you can have some.
Sure, you have my contact, so just reach out. That's fine as well. Okay. Dr. Kojo,
Okay.
actually nice seeing you in flesh and blood again after a while. So
Yeah.
I'm wishing everybody
been
just have a good day
You have been
/ night.
missing in action.
Yeah. That's all right. Okay, so I'll be taking my leave as well, and hopefully we'll get to meet soon again.
Okay.
Right,
Dr.
bye-bye.
Vicky, let's connect tomorrow at your convenience.
Can we do that now? Does that work for you?
If you have the time, we can.
Yeah, please. because I think I have
Yeah,
like a few minutes before I rush out.
other people in a queue waiting for you, so I wanted you to exhaust this time with them. And then
Oh, okay, no
come back
worries
on
then,
to
because Samaila actually asked. Okay, all right, I'll connect with you, sir. Thank you
exhaust
so
with them,
much.
and then tomorrow we'll do that. All
All
right,
right,
guys,
that's
have a restful weekend.
you too. Okay.